to the sign-in link that is in the chat. We are going to get started with the meeting, and I'm going to pass the mic to Felix, who is going to talk about ranked choice voting across California. So Felix, whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Amari. I'm going to talk real briefly about what ranked choice voting is, or rather we'll have a video that does that. And then I'll talk about why ranked choice voting, why now, and why work with us. So if we could show the video, please, John.
All right, just a sec.
Not, maybe I can call it up. Oh, here we go. Thank you very much.
Politics is tearing us apart, and it's because elections aren't working for most of us. Here's why. In the US, each of us can vote for the candidate we like the most, but whenever more than 2 candidates are running to win 1 seat, it's possible for most voters to hate whoever wins. Because of this split vote, politicians can ignore the will of most voters and still win. Ranked choice voting gives you the freedom to select a backup choice to prevent that from happening. Let's say a group uses ranked choice voting to decide what to eat for dinner tonight. Each voter selects their favorite dish, but also has the option to choose backup dishes. If one food receives more than half the votes, it wins, just like in any other election. But let's get to dessert, where the competition is more fierce. What if no ice cream flavor has more than 50% of the vote? Under a normal race, vanilla would win, even though a majority of voters didn't pick it. With ranked choice voting, the flavor with the fewest votes is eliminated, and voters who chose that flavor as number 1 will have their votes count for their next choice. Everyone gets a say, no one wastes their vote, and the winner is the flavor that the largest number of people agreed upon. That's ranked choice voting. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. You get more voice and more choice, and that makes elections better for all of us.
Thanks. Okay, if you could take the slide back down and put it back on me. All right. So more choice, more voice, and ice cream cones several times bigger than the size of your head. That's an amazing way to go, I think. Hi, my name is Felix Lang, and as you could probably guess from that dad joke, I am the father of 2 boys, 6 and 10, and they have been perfecting the art of the forehead smack every time I say something like that. So in a Zoom call, it's kind of hard to tell whether boys, jokes are playing, so you can always react. If it's a bad joke, forehead smack. If it's a good joke, forehead smack. That'll work great for me. A little bit about myself before I get started. I went to high school in Diamond Bar, high atop the 57 freeway. I went to Cal to study electrical engineering, computer science, one of those geeks. And I've had 4 careers. I was a software engineer in Silicon Valley for many years, taught economics at San Jose State, did a stint in Austin, Texas, doing education technology, and now I'm back in California in Orange County doing finance. And I'm also a political blogger, and I'm active on Twitter. And I've been a ranked choice voting proponent for almost 20 years. So I'm going to talk about why RCV, why now, why work with us. In terms of why RCV, I know the video went into a bit of that, but a roommate in Texas had a pickup truck with a bumper sticker that I think says it all, and that was vote Cthulhu, why settle for the lesser of 2 evils? And this is a good time for forehead smack. And with ranked choice voting, you don't have to settle for evil at all. You can vote for your favorite, and then know that you can put down your backup choices as well. And again, in more detail, I'm no political scientist. There's several in this group that are, but a lot of social sciences are pretty similar. And one thing that I've learned is that people are irrational and complex, and groups of people even more so. There can be positive feedback effects, and it's really hard to model them, and prediction's almost impossible. So in my mind, there is just no substitute for real world history. And why RCV versus some of these other voting systems. Ranked choice voting has the strongest real world history, the best track record, and not just in Australia, but in places in the US and right here in California, places like San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, go Bears, and San Leandro, and coming soon to Albany. On a more personal note, I am an Asian, I'm a registered libertarian. I met my wife at Burning Man, and she's a registered Green. And if you think a Green and a libertarian is a strange match, she also went to Stanford. And we have liberal friends in Austin, Texas. We have conservative friends and family in California, all in the same boat, where we get practically no representation from our current plurality system. Ranked choice voting would fix that, particularly the multi-seat version that awards seats proportionally. So instead of you get 10% of the vote, instead of getting 0% of the seats, you get 10% of the seats, which would be fair. So that's why RCV. In terms of why now, I think a major reason most of you are here today is you've noticed that politics in the country and state are more divided, more polarized, and more dysfunctional than ever before. It's gotten to the point where friends, neighbors, and even family members treat politics like a minefield, and that's not how it should be. Like, politics is in policymaking is an important and an essential conversation to be having. Meanwhile, ranked choice voting is having a bit of a moment. I don't remember not so long ago, I'd have to talk about Australia to explain it. And now I can point to New York City, which is where my sister Elvina is from. And I think she's here today. And over 30 US cities used it last week. And instead of just places, like blue areas, the red state of Utah used it. And I know Virginia might be a touchy subject for some, but the GOP used ranked choice voting to select Youngkin. So this is truly a nonpartisan reform that can serve everybody across the ideological spectrum. And there's no better time to get involved. While the need is dire and the challenge is formidable, the energy, enthusiasm, and momentum have never been greater. And I hope that'll be apparent tonight. So while RCV won't happen unless we make it happen, this is exactly why we are building this coalition, and that's exactly why we need you. So in terms of why us, who is Cal RCV? We are a nonpartisan coalition of activists from organizations including Level Up, Rank the Vote, Californians for Electoral Reform, a group I was part of, and Fair Vote. We are focused on getting ranked choice voting, both the single seat and the multi-seat versions, adopted across the state in local, state, and federal elections. And a core principle is for us to be representative of the entire state. So we are diverse, as you can see, in ideology, gender, ethnicity, religion, and age. And we are a large and growing movement. Furthermore, we are motivated. We have a plan, and we have decisive leadership with the knowledge and experience to execute that plan. So I'm very glad you're here tonight, and I hope we can inspire I hope we can inspire you to work with us going forward. Thank you very much. And to tell us a little bit more about how to get it implemented, I'm going to pass it on to Jessica now.
All right, thank you so much, Felix. My name is Jess, and I've been with the coalition since its earliest days as a modest Slack workspace and a handful of people tabling at farmers markets around Sacramento. And boy, have we grown since then. With that intro out of the way, let's talk a little bit of strategy. So as you may be aware, several cities in California are already using RCV, and this has given us real world data about its effectiveness and its benefits, and we love data. From these cities, we also know that when voters are given the choice, they opt to use ranked choice voting in their elections, and that's great news for us. Passing ranked choice voting at the statewide level is the ultimate goal, but it's not going to happen overnight. We need to be strategic and focused. Statewide adoption is likely going to take a ballot measure if you know anything about previous efforts in the state. And in order to be successful, we need to be well organized, well funded, and well connected to allies across the state of California. So what does that mean in practice? It means we're going to implement a two-pronged strategy. First, we're going to build capacity to win at the statewide level. And instead of reinventing the wheel, we're going to learn from and partner with organizations like Rank the Vote, who have already had success building large grassroots movements in other states, ensuring to adapt that approach to California's unique landscape. Second, we're going to support local RCV campaigns in California and make sure they're successful. By doing these things simultaneously, we're increasing public awareness and support for RCV while also cultivating the talent and the resources that we're going to need for a big statewide push down the road. To be succinct, success is going to boil down to people, money, and endorsements. And as you'll see, we've structured teams within the coalition in a way that builds our strength in each of these categories. So there's still a lot of work to be done, both in terms of strategy and for specifics. But the purpose of tonight's call isn't to get into the weeds. These are big, important questions, and we really want to dig into them with the community of the California RCV Coalition. So we hope you join us. That being said, we have established some guiding principles to help us move forward as a group. First, we strive to listen before we speak. We don't presume to know everything, and we think that honest and constructive feedback and insight can be incredibly helpful and useful. We also want to deeply engage with people, communities, and groups all over the state of California to understand what people want and how RCV can fit into that. Second, we're nonpartisan, as Felix said. We're here to advocate for better and more accurate representation of California voters. RCV isn't tied to a specific ideology or a party, and neither are we. Third, we're action-oriented. As you may know, RCV, along with other electoral reforms, can get bogged down in academic debates. And while we fully recognize the importance of research and dialogue, we also think bold and prompt action is necessary to fix the major problems in our electoral system. So we endeavor to keep our minds open to different approaches, methods, and strategies as we push forward through direct action. Fourth, we are playing the long game. Changing how we elect government officials is a big deal with significant downstream effects. There are lots of entrenched interests that will fight RCV because it removes unfair advantages in the current system. That's why we have our two-pronged strategy. With these principles in mind, I just want to close by saying we're on the right path. And with the help of dedicated reformers like all of you on this phone call tonight, we can absolutely make this happen. Now we're going to hear from some of the coalition's wonderful and hardworking team leads about outreach, onboarding, local campaigns, and fundraising. And up first will be Paul with outreach. Paul, please take it away.
Hi, thanks, Jess. My name's Paul Copley. I'm one of the team leads of outreach. I'm doing the presentation tonight for Chris Rote, who's stuck on the I-5 in between San Francisco and LA. Californians, you probably know what peril he's in, but he'll make it. But I'm going to present for him tonight on behalf of volunteer outreach. The volunteer outreach arm is the section of the coalition that puts on their shoes and grabs their clipboards and gets out there and talks to people in a one-on-one setting. Our goal is to educate voters and people across California on what ranked choice voting literally is. It starts with a conversation about the system that we currently use, why it doesn't work, and why everybody's so frustrated with it. And then we introduce to them the concept of ranked choice voting if they don't already know about it. There's a lot of people who've heard about it. They've maybe seen a video sometime in the years, and they never really thought that anything like that would happen here. But when they see people on the street talking to them about it, they get excited because they quickly understand what an advantage it is and that something is really happening here. And that makes the live outreach part of it really fun. Just letting people know that we're on the ground working to create fair representative elections. So the goal of that live outreach organization is nothing less than trying to reach every single person in California, whether you're in the big cities or on top of a mountain or digging a hole in Death Valley. We're going to get to you eventually, and we're going to make sure that you know our logo and that you know our purple backgrounds and everything like that. We want to reach out to people of every color, creed, gender, sexuality, religion, political preference. For us, diversity is everything. It's all different types of diversity that can benefit from ranked choice voting. And that includes regional diversity too. There's a lot of people here from big cities. Our coalitions are getting started in the big cities, but as we keep going, we're branching out and we're reaching people in the country who are oftentimes underrepresented, especially in a state like California that has so much population in the big cities. We want to meet these people, get them signed up as supporters, get them excited, get them turned into volunteers, and get them out on the streets with us talking to people. Canvassing is really fun, and it's actually quite easy because it's not really controversial what we're doing. We're not backing a particular candidate. There's not legislation in the pipeline yet. It's really just talking to people about how great this is. And pretty much everybody you talk to has a gripe with politics the way they are now. So if you've had experiences in farmers markets or at the library or something like that, where a person's come up to you with a really abrasive agenda and it's kind of a turnoff, that might make you think that this is hard, but you have to realize that what we're talking about is easy. We're giving away candy, basically. People want this. So anytime you walk up to a stranger and you start talking to them, after you get through that first minute, then all of a sudden they're engaged. Then they want to know more, then they're interested, and you get their email and you get them on, and our coalition grows. And growing this coalition to huge numbers of supporters and volunteers is how we're going to get this thing across the finish line. We're the spear that pokes injustice. There's something on Live-O for everyone. If this is what you're interested in, come to the breakout room and talk to us about it, because there's really something for everyone. If you're an extrovert, you can go out on the streets like me and some other people, go to college campuses, farmers markets, and literally just stop strangers and talk to them about ranked choice voting. It's really fun. You'll meet a lot of people, make a lot of new friends. If you're more into doing networking behind the scenes, we have a need for you too. That's a huge part of it. If you're good on LinkedIn, if you're good on Twitter, on Facebook, if you have big groups of friends all over the internet that you can reach out to and network with online, that's super valuable, and we need that. And then the final group that we're looking for is the introverts, the people who want to work behind the scene on the logistics end of it, setting up these events, getting permissions to go to these places, and making sure that all of our members across the state have everything they need to go out and have successful live outreach events. So if that sounds interesting to you, when we go into the breakout rooms, come to Live-O, talk to me, meet some of the other people, and we'll get you set up with the area that you're in and let you know about events that are going on there so that you can come and join us. And I believe that is it for Live-O. Next, we're going to go to Nancy, who's going to talk to you about the next incredible opportunity.
Thanks, Paul. So as Paul was talking about, and we heard earlier from Jess, the people are absolutely mission critical to this organization. In order to implement all of the strategies that we have, we need people to do it. So we need troops on the ground. And the volunteer onboarding and activation team is essentially the next link in the chain after outreach. So once people get initially connected to the Cal RCV Coalition in some sense, we need to help people get integrated into the organization, find where they would best fit, find their way in, get acquainted, feel oriented. And so that is the main mission of the Vol-O team. And right now, what we're doing is really one main task. We follow up on the initial outreach. So it could be get outreach to on the street, or all of you, you found your way into this statewide meeting. And so you are in a database and somebody's going to follow up and do outreach to you after this call. So we call, we text, we email new recruits and talk with them about the organization, as well as learn about their interests and their talents and what they can commit, and we get them connected with teams. So right now we're doing this as part of weekly call parties. And as you can tell from the name of that event, the party, they are actually quite fun. You're calling people, it's not, if you've phone bank before and that sounds terrible, it's not like a normal phone bank, because we're calling warm leads, people who are really excited to hear from you. And after I'm done with my little spiel, I will drop a link in the chat to a call party. So anybody here can actually sign up. You don't need training. I mean, you don't need training beforehand. We'll get you trained up there. So if you're somebody who likes to help new people get settled into a group, this is really for you. We are not only looking for people to join the call party crew, but eventually to be call hosts. And then down the road, we'll be doing some more work to institutionalize what the volunteer onboarding team is really doing. So we have a much more codified system of bringing people to the volunteer pipeline. So people will design orientation meetings, run periodic orientation meetings. We want to get a crew of call party hosts so that we can have more than one a week. You can work on a toolkit, which has a curriculum for all of this. So those types of things. So if you're a system builder, and I saw somebody saying like, I'm in the chat, I'm an engineer, I'm really systematic and good at building things, this might be for you. Or if you like to be somebody who just wants to bring folks in and help them feel oriented and happy, this is also for you. So I am going to grab a link and drop it in the chat for the call party. I hope a whole bunch of you come, and I can pass it off to the person who's going to be talking about a local campaign, which I think is San Jose.
Yep, hi, that's me. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Gordon from San Jose. Thank you very much for this time to speak. It really feels like this coalition came around for the perfect time for my city. In July and August, momentum really started to build in San Jose. Ranked choice voting started to be discussed in a city charter review commission. A couple of local reformers started recruiting volunteers to call in to voice support for ranked choice voting. And then very excitingly, last month, the commission voted 18-3, overwhelmingly, you might say, to recommend the city adopt ranked choice voting. Pause for applause break. Now the next step is we need the city council to listen and put it on the ballot for the citizens to vote on. So myself and other San Joseans, along with a huge amount of support from the coalition, are launching an organization called Better Elections San Jose. And we'll be organizing a campaign to promote ranked choice voting in San Jose. We have our launch event coming up this upcoming Monday, November 15th at 7 p.m. Where we'll discuss strategies we're working on and see how we can get all new volunteers involved. So if you support ranked choice voting, which means you're on this call, and if you're in San Jose or just want to help out with the campaign in California, come to our call on Monday. I'll put a link in the chat. I'll put my email in the chat. And come to our breakout session towards the end of this group. So I'll grab those, put it in the chat. And again, thanks for the time. I'll turn it over to Guy now.
Thanks, Sam. My name's Guy Camilleri, and among other things tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you about our other local campaign launch, which will be San Diego next week. A group called More Choice San Diego has been in planning stages for the past 2 years, and they're ready to launch now. And super exciting. San Diego is the second largest city in California. And we have a very real possibility of passing ranked choice voting there in a year from now, November 2022. What that's going to take, though, is a lot of organizing and efforts. I see some of our San Diego friends on this call. I'm sure there's others from the San Diego area that are on this call that I don't know yet. We want to encourage you. We don't have a specific breakout room for San Diego, their launch tonight, but towards the end of the call, I'll be talking about upcoming events. And you can find their event in the calendar link that we will drop throughout the chat. Anyways, More Choice San Diego, please join their launch next week. It's going to be great. From there, I want to go into a little bit of our organizational structure, and I'm not going to spend much time on it tonight, but what I wanted to emphasize, for those of you who've seen the agenda, we have only 5 breakout rooms tonight compared to all the breakout rooms we had during our launch. While we want you to choose one of the particular breakout rooms that I'll list in a second, I want those of you to know that if you have a particular skill set or passion in an area that isn't represented in one of these breakout rooms, we do have other areas of need, and I just want you to know they exist. So Karen, if you could put up that the slide that shows the organizational structure, please.
1 moment.
While she's looking for that, there we go. One more. Awesome. There we go. So notice if you guys remember what Jess had shared, that we build around building people, money, and endorsements. And I won't go into the people part, which is live outreach and volunteer onboarding, because Paul and Nancy already did a great job of sharing that with us. We haven't talked fundraising yet, and I'll do more of that towards the end of the meeting, but clearly, we can't build an organization and be successful in a state the size of California and cities the size of San Diego, San Jose, and even smaller cities if we don't raise a lot of money. We really need your help doing that. And we will be dropping a donate link in the chat throughout tonight. And so, but I'll talk more specifically about that towards the end of the meeting. And then endorsements. While we don't have a speakers and endorsements breakout tonight, we have a talented speakers and endorsements team where we train up speakers and give them an opportunity to talk to city councils, to talk to organizations, to basically get more people to endorse ranked choice voting here in California and cities throughout, so we can continue to build knowledge of ranked choice voting and educate people throughout the state. As you can see, the next box there is local campaigns. Basically, that everything we're building is to assist local campaigns like San Jose, like San Diego, other ones that are bubbling up through the network now. And then underneath that is policy and research, where we have super talented team who loves to research precedents and statutes for various cities and statewide to help lead us in what strategies we should take when we're looking to pass ranked choice voting. Social media and creative, we will have a breakout on that this evening, but that one's pretty self-explanatory. That's a group that helps us create any visuals, any materials that we need for social media, for presentations, for our website as we evolve that, et cetera. Tech and data, also super talented, great team there helping us run this meeting tonight. So if you're really talented with tech or you love it, that's a team that's available as well. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. We at Cal RCV believe it's of fundamental importance that we build an organization that is inclusive and that is as diverse as California is, from the top to the bottom to everybody in between. We want this organization to look like California. And then messaging. We don't have a specific team for messaging that meets every week or every 2 weeks, but we are very cognizant of how important messaging is to the entire organization, and how that is used across the board when it comes to the people column, how we talk to people, what we say when we're fundraising, how we talk to donors, and also we're have speaking engagements and are looking to get endorsements. So with that said, Karen, if you could move to the next slide, please. So we're going to have some fun now. We're going to break out into breakup rooms. The first one is diversity, equity, and inclusion. The second one is live outreach. Actually, I should mention the first one is with Amari, who you guys know. Live outreach and statewide recruiting is with Paul. Volunteer onboarding and activation is with Nancy. Social media and art is with Christina, and San Jose will be with Sam.
Yes.
All right. Okay, excellent. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had fun connecting with fellow reformers in your various groups and got a chance to get to know some new friends. I look forward to hearing about that later. I'm a little bummed I didn't get to join one, but next time. So next steps, we're about 5 minutes away from the formal end of the meeting. Just so everybody knows, we are going to stick around after we formally close the meeting at 8. For those of you that have questions and want to hang out and ask any questions of us. But before then, next steps, we want you to get connected. Find us on social media. We'll drop the links in the chat. Also spread the word to family, friends, colleagues. And then I want to talk a little bit real quick about upcoming events. Karen, if you can go to the next slide, please. So bookmark the calrcv.org/calendar. It will also be in the chat. We have so many great events coming up. It's hard to believe that we've only been in existence for 6 weeks, and now we already have, gosh, what is that, 8 or 9 or 10 events between now and our next monthly meeting. You'll notice there's events on here, like the first one, canvassing in San Francisco, then a launch event, Better Election San Jose next week, canvas and pitch training for those of you that want to go out and canvass or make pitches about RCV pitches. We actually have a training session for that. I'm going to be on that next week, and it's going to be super fun. I can't wait to learn more. Then we have the San Diego launch, More Choice San Diego launch. We have a link to that in our calendar section on the site. We have tabling at the Hayward Farmers Market and the Daily Cities City Farmers Market. For those of you that don't know, tabling is like another form of canvassing, except we literally set up a table in a high traffic area like a farmer's market and tell people about RCV and get them to sign up as supporters and join us for future meetings. And then we have a couple big canvassing events down here in the LA area, one at Cal State LA, one at Cal State Northridge. So please join us for that if you're in the LA area. And then December 8th, we have our next monthly meeting. So mark your calendar for that. That meeting will be structured just like tonight, except we'll have a lot of really cool updates out of all of these events and more between now and then. So as you can see, we got a lot of stuff going, and this is just in our first month and a half of existence. So I'm certain that we'll have a lot more stuff for you guys to choose from and to engage with as we move forward. And Karen, if you could move to the next slide, please. Clearly, in a state like California with almost 40 million people, without a robust fundraising arm, we wouldn't be able to grow this organization so that we can support all of the cities that we're looking to help implement RCV, as well as eventually a statewide effort. So we are very grateful to all of the donors that stepped up last time during our launch and in the couple of weeks after that. We raised enough money at that point that we're confident enough to go out and hire our first full-time employee. We're going to go hire a very talented field organizer. We have enough to pay for the first 3 months of that. So we are going to make a push to raise more money to be able to bring on somebody full-time, hopefully, in that capacity. When it comes to donations, we appreciate any amount in any way. As we build the more established cash flow so that we can make better management decisions, we really are pushing for monthly recurring donations now, if you can do that. You will see the donation link in the chat. Even if you don't donate during this meeting, if you can do us a favor and just click on the link so it opens a tab on your browser, and maybe you can consider after the meeting if you can contribute in any way. No amount is too small. If you want to donate $5 a month, that's great. If you can do 10 or 25 or 50, that's great too. If you can do more, that's fantastic as well. So we recognize that everybody has different means, and please contribute in whatever way is comfortable for you. We also know that some of you out there have donor advised funds, and we know that that's a little bit different of a donation process. On that point, please reach out to me or any of the other leaders in the group, or let us know in the chat, and we will follow up with you directly to talk about how to proceed with that. Karen, if you could forward to the next slide. So that's it. We literally did it. It's 8 p.m. on the dot. We are going to stick around to answer questions, but we really respect your time, and we wanted to make sure we kept it to an hour so that we'll do that for future meetings too, and you'll come back and visit us. We are now done with the formal part of the meeting. If you need to go, feel free. And if you'd like to stay and ask questions, we'll be here to answer them and to chat. Thank you, everybody.
I have a question. It's Jane.
Yep. Karen, can you drop the slide now, please? Or the slideshow? And we'll just go back to gallery view. Let's see. Perfect. Okay.
Can I ask a question? Jane. Absolutely. Jane Ann Jeffries.
Hi, Jane.
Yeah, I don't see where the sign in is.
Maybe can somebody drop in the sign in link again in the chat, please? Okay. Well, do you see it now, Jane?
I see where it says to everyone type message here. Okay, but I haven't seen that. I don't know. Am I supposed to type my name and then type my message?
Oh, you're not seeing the chat window. You only see where you type. You don't see the messages that other people are sending?
Yes, I do, but mine isn't appearing the way theirs is. So I obviously am not doing it correct. Yeah.
Jane, I could email it to you.
Okay. Do that.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amari. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions, comments, funny jokes? All of the above. Alistair is visiting us from Virginia.
Comment.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you, Guy. Oh, but there's a
It's good
question.
to
I
see
think.
you. Okay, go for it.
There was a question in the chat about the 501c3 status. You want to comment on that?
Got it. Yes. So we are still working on that. I think the optimistic scenario is we should have our 501c3 within about 4 weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks at the latest. And in the meantime, we still are incorporated as a 501c4, so we can take donations. So that having both entities will give us more flexibility going forward. But yeah, for the C3, it should take us another 4 weeks or so.
But don't let that stop you from making a pledge to the C3 if you want to make
Good
a
point.
pledge for a donation later down the line. Once we do have that C3, if you want it to be tax deductible.
Yeah, so if you want to give via C3, please feel free to make a pledge. And we don't have our pledge form in the chat. I'm not sure if we have that available, but reach out to any of us and we can make sure that gets taken care of. For the actual donate, I don't remember Kaz or anybody on the call. The actual donate link, does that have an option there if you want to do a pledge versus an actual real-time donation or not?
No, so if you go to calrcv.org/donate, you can donate right now tonight with a credit card. If you want to pledge, you can, as Kaz said, you can type a pledge right in chat, or there is a link there's a bit.ly link here. I'll drop it back into the chat here again. Where you can type in a pledge, and that can go to our C4, which we have right now, or our C3. Guy, can you talk a little bit more? You mentioned earlier that we have enough funds to hire an organizer, but only for 3 months. If we want to turn that into 12 months, do you know that number offhand? And if you don't, I do. So it's a rhetorical question.
Well, yeah. Oh, then you answer, Tom, because I think you know the numbers a little bit better than I do.
That's right. So to sustain this full-time person, we need to have a run rate of about $7,000, $7,500 a month to cover the costs for a full-time organizer. We have a run rate right now that covers our really, really minimal operating costs, which is basically some software that we're paying for. But we do not have the ongoing funds to keep someone for longer than 3 months, which we clearly want to do. And so I just pledged myself $100 a month tonight, in addition to some money I've given to the organization before. The more people that we can get giving $20, $50, $100 a month, whatever that number is that works for you, through a pledge or through the donate button, which you can set up a monthly recurring donation on our website right now. That'll get us toward that $7,500 mark, and we can have a full-time organizer, which is going to absolutely supercharge the organization.
Yep. Good point, Tom.
I'll donate
first of all,
$25 right now.
Nice, Alistair. And Alistair's in Virginia, and he's
That's
donating.
what we gotta help each other out.
Yeah, that's right.
To hear.
I'll match Alistair.
Hey!
Excellent. Yeah, we got an
There we
auction
go.
going now. 25, 30, 30.
All right, do we
21,
have
35.
50? Do we have 100?
I have a question on the donor advised fund.
Yeah.
Can I make a donation from my donor advised fund before we get the C3 status?
Yeah, we would treat that as
Hey,
a
now we
pledge.
got a Rothschild talking about money. We're in a good situation.
Yeah, Ken, we can do that. Why don't we connect with you afterwards, or tomorrow? We can follow up tomorrow and talk about it. But yeah, we can take it as a pledge, and then once the C3 becomes official, then we can make the transaction.
Okay.
Thank you.
I did it.
One thing I was going to
mine.
mention.
25. Who else is in? Who else is in? Come on.
Yay,
$25.
Paul.
That's like
I'm
2
in.
cups of coffee.
I've already
Alistair?
donated. I'm waiting for you guys to join me here.
Not even two good cups. of coffee. It's like crappy coffee.
I was also going to mention for those people who are interested in this, it's something we didn't mention tonight, but are going to actively pursue. If you host a house party where you bring in friends and family, acquaintances, coworkers, etc., we can hook you up with a very good speaker, and we can help you organize the event. We have a team that does that from our national partner, Rank the Vote, and increasingly we'll be doing more of these throughout the state. So just something, planting a seed for future reference for anybody that thinks they might want to try out a house party, which are always fun things to do. So Catherine, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I had a question about the local campaigns. So we talked tonight about 2 local campaigns, but I'm wondering if Jim Lindsay or Steve Chesson or someone could talk about, if any other localities want to get going, how does that work? I know we're only like 6 weeks old, so this is a little premature, but.
Yeah, so I'll take a stab at that and then hand it over to, or Steve, do you want to start?
Well, why don't you start and then hand it to me?
I was just going to say, generally, we would just say, if there's folks interested in starting a campaign or knows of people working on a campaign in any given city, please connect them with us right away, because then we would connect them with Steve, policy and research team, and we would figure out, okay, where are they at? What would they need to be successful strategically? What strategies, what tactics, et cetera. And then we would help them develop a plan if they didn't already have one, or supplement their plan if they do. So that's the general comment, and then I'll hand it over to Steve for his comments.
Yeah, that's basically it. Right now, the way the state of the law in California is only charter cities can use ranked choice voting. If you live in a general law city, I'm sorry, but you cannot use ranked choice voting there. And if you don't know if the city that you live in is a general law or charter city, you can contact me and I can tell you, because I've got a list. Anyway, but yeah, it takes boots on the ground. It takes people who live in the jurisdiction in order to get ranked choice voting in that jurisdiction. We can't just parachute in people, but we can advise the people who are on the ground and have the energy to do it. It requires developing contacts with the city council. It's a lot easier to get it if you can get the city council to put on the ballot, as opposed to having to do collecting signatures on a petition, although that's been done as well. And I'll be happy to help anybody that wants to bring ranked choice voting to their community.
Hey, Steve, can I ask you a question about that? You know how the California Voting Rights Act allows municipalities to opt in to implement ranked choice voting in lieu of districts, voting by district, as a remedy for, if under the California Voting Rights Act. And I was wondering, do you have to be a charter city in that circumstance to implement ranked choice?
Okay. Well, first of all, the way the CVRA is written, are you talking about using proportional ranked choice voting instead of single member districts? Because the way CVR is written, that's still considered an at-large system and still exposes the city to being sued under the CVRA. Now, it is possible, and this has happened in places, that if you get a CVRA notice letter and you can prove to the prospective plaintiff that districts are not really going to remedy the situation, but some other system would, then you can get a court-approved settlement to do that. And that would also work for a general law city. The problem there, though, is you still need to get the county to agree to run the election for you, and that's a whole other can of worms.
Oh, speaking of which, Orange County, we've had a really good registrar, Neil, I can't think of his name, Neil Kelly, and he just announced his retirement. He's been exceptional, and so maybe that's something to look at, as well as looking towards trying to encourage our county to appoint somebody who is in support of, who's not going to say, oh, that's too hard, it's appointed, I'm sorry, appointed by the county board of supervisors, and they're all a bunch of turds. Well, one's good.
Well, as long as they appoint somebody who is as open-minded as Neil Kelly is, I actually had conversations with him back when Anaheim was considering various alternative methods. And he seemed very open to ranked choice voting.
Yeah, he's a real smart guy, and so that's why things worked well. So it'd be good to have somebody as good as him or better in there.
Now, Mission Viejo is in Orange County, and they settled their C-Vari lawsuit. They were going to go to cumulative voting, but I don't know if that's happened yet or not.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was about the same time we moved to ours. Yeah.
Max, did you have a question?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, Max first and then Mimi.
Thanks. I was just wondering if there's anything in the org that's like a roadmap to statewide adoption, if you have any plans there, or if there's an online resource I could look at.
That's definitely a tougher cookie to crack, and that is the long-term plan. But Steve, maybe you can address that one. So what would need to happen?
My personal feeling is absent. Okay. In order to get ranked choice voting, where ranked choice voting has been adopted statewide, there has been a well-defined problem for which, a well-defined and well-recognized problem for which ranked choice voting is the solution. So for example, when Maine adopted ranked choice voting statewide, it was because they had an unpopular governor who was elected with with a plurality of the vote, but not a majority of the vote. Catherine put that in the chat. We don't currently have that in California. So my personal feeling is that we need more local examples. If we could get Los Angeles, which is Los Angeles City is 10% of the state, the county is 25% of the state. If we could get the city or the county to adopt ranked choice voting, if we can get it in San Diego, if we can get it in San Jose, which was currently in progress, San Diego is also in progress. Sacramento would also be good because that's where all the staff people to the legislators live in that area. So we need more people, more voters in California familiar with ranked choice voting. We need more elected officials used to campaigning under ranked choice voting before we will have the momentum to be able to carry it statewide. So that's my personal feeling, and it's shared by a lot of people. Some people disagree. My other answer to people who want to do a statewide initiative off the bat is great. Where's the $5 million to get it on the ballot? Where's the $15 million to conduct a credible campaign? And we're not there yet.
But we are taking donations.
I hope that answers. Yes, we are taking
thanks,
donations.
Steve. Thanks, Steve. Mimi, you were next, and then Mark is after Mimi.
Well, I think my question might have just been answered. My question was, how do we get ranked choice voting in unincorporated areas? But I think it's when we get it in the county. Is that correct?
Okay, actually,
Steve?
I'm glad you put that up. A general law city, I've drafted what's called a 2-article charter. Riverside County did this, went from a general law county to a charter county because they did not want the governor appointing filling supervisorial vacancies. You had a Republican board of supervisors, you had a Democratic governor at the time. One of their supervisors was going to run for Congress. It was going to create a vacancy. They didn't want a Democratic governor appointing a Democrat to the board of supervisors. So they adopted a 2-article charter. Article 1 says the board of supervisors shall fill vacancies by appointment. Second article says everything else is covered by general law. I've drafted a similar 2-article charter for a city, any general law city that wants to adopt ranked choice voting. First article says we'll conduct our elections using ranked choice voting. Second article says everything else is general law. So if you live in a general law city and you can build the political will and the momentum to get people, yes, we want to adopt ranked choice voting, then you just need to convince the city council to put that 2-article charter on the ballot. Because unfortunately, while you can amend a city charter by petition, you can't adopt an initial city charter by petition. So, but yeah, if you live in a general law city and you're interested in trying to get it to adopt ranked choice voting, talk to me about it and we'll see what we can do.
I live in an unincorporated area. So.
Oh, unincorporated. I apologize.
Unincorporated.
Yeah, What county is that?
Alameda County. I live in San Lorenzo, so it's San Lorenzo, Fairview, Castro Valley, Ashland, Cherryland. We don't have a city council. We have municipal advisory committees to the supervisors. And I'm just wondering how we bring this to the unincorporated areas, because there's, quite a few people that live in unincorporated areas here in Alameda County.
Do you like those municipal councils?
Some of them are elected. The one that is in my area was just formed last year and people were appointed this time. I am one of the appointees. Full disclosure.
Okay, I'm gonna put my email in the chat.
Cool.
And
Thank you
can
so
send
much.
me an oops, wrong person.
Excellent.
Oh God.
My name
Thanks,
is Mimi
Steve.
Dean. Mimi Dean.
Thanks, Mimi.
Right on.
While you guys are doing the email exchange, Mark.
Yeah,
Hinkle, you
I'll
have
put my
your,
email in
hand
the
up.
chat, and then just have to do this on an iPad, which is very slow.
Mark?
Yeah, Guy, I just wanted to ask, is there any website or on the website anywhere where organizations can endorse RCV?
I don't think we have that yet. I think it's an option, but I'm going to defer to Tom on that one. Tom, I know we've talked about that before. Any insights on that?
Yeah, so the short answer is we do actually have a form on our website where organizations can endorse, but it's not published right now. And the reason is that we're at the stage where endorsements are happening, with conversations and discussions that we're having with other organizations. The other thing is we're not yet publishing who has endorsed RCV generally as a concept or the Cal RCV Coalition specifically, because we want to sort of build up a baseline level of endorsements before we start publishing those. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to be posting just one or two orgs. So, and we're already beyond that, but still we haven't hit sort of that critical mass where we'll have sort of a balanced, broad, representative of the state in terms of ideology and geography and all of those sorts of things that we'll want to have before we then put that out there publicly.
Yeah, Tom, do you know if the Libertarian Party have they endorsed RCV?
Yeah,
great question. There's several Libertarians, party members specifically. Yeah, you're one of them, Mark.
Nationally they have. And I'm pretty certain, well, I don't know if it's official, that the state party will too. We have quite a few members of the state party that have joined us over the past, since the launch, and good connections with the national party as well as with the state. So
and
I don't know if
just
it's official.
wrote in the chat that statewide position does support RCV. Yeah.
I think
Great.
Cal RCV has been
That's
careful to not endorse a party or align itself with one party or the other. Like, we want to make sure that we're remaining a big tent, but we obviously welcome support from across the political spectrum.
Jane had a question in the chat. Does the League of Women Voters support RCV? The initial answer is it depends on where they are. They generally have the freedom to sort of make their own decisions. We did have a connection to the national organization, and the national organization told us that they always defer to the state and local organizations, chapters, to make those decisions. There might be others on this call who have had more experience with local chapters. Steve, you raised your hand.
Yeah, because the statewide, League of Women Voters of California does have a position, and I'm looking it up right now, that does support ranked choice voting, because we did first in California and then we took it national.
Oh, perfect.
And some local
Tom,
leagues
have we gone after them yet?
Had positions for them.
We should definitely get them as an endorser then, if it's put that on our to-do list.
Yeah, Paula Lee would probably be the person to talk to. My understanding is she is the one that brought the state org around to supporting RCV in a more formal
That's
way.
right. That's right. And the
Okay.
national
Oh,
position.
great.
Paula was deeply
Excellent.
involved in
Okay.
that.
Oh, that's good. Okay. See you, Felix. Are you leaving us? Excellent. Any other questions?
Chad asked in the chat
Comments?
if RCV is part of the California Democratic Party platform, and I actually don't know the answer to that.
Sorry, that was a state. It's part of their political reform plank.
Ah, very nice.
Which, you mean one of the caucuses, like the Progressive Caucus?
No,
Or
it's
it's
part
the
of
plank
the statewide party platform.
I can't believe Rusty supports that.
We did it before, Rusty.
Yeah, I think it happened. I don't know exactly when it happened. I want to say around 2016 or so. So it might have been under Bauman.
Unbelievable. Wow. Okay, cool.
So, a real quick, actually, since I have a real quick question. So what's the, like, I know that there's a couple of canvases planned for next month. What's the call to action for the people who are going to be knocking on doors to? Like, what do we want them to do at this point?
Is Paul still here on the call?
He's not.
I'll defer to him. He's
He
not.
left. He's in Hawaii.
I can talk about that. They're not
Go for it,
door
Catherine.
knocking at this point. They're going out to like farmers markets, and actually Mimi's here. Mimi, do you want to talk about what Riot Outreach is focusing on?
Yeah, so we're really going to events right now, and I'm, farmers markets, art shows, whatever events we find that are local that we can get a group of people to go to. Listening to this, I've been reaching out to like my Facebook groups, and then I was thinking, there's way other groups that we can be reaching out to, like now that you're telling me that Democrats support it, which I had no idea. I'm going to bring that up at the Democratic Club meeting that I'm joining, and I'm going to join League of Women Voters, and I'm going to infiltrate all these groups so I can, see what they're thinking. And I think that's a really good way, is for us to join other groups and get in there.
And let me just add, so Chad, to your question, what are we asking them to do right now? Because there's not a specific statewide campaign that's being run. So obviously there's supporting local campaigns like San Diego, San Jose, and others. That's one thing. But then the other is to sign up as a supporter of Cal RCV and become a volunteer, because we're very much in the capacity building mode right now, right? We have to hit a critical mass of people, money, and endorsements before a statewide ballot measure becomes anywhere near a reality. So a lot of it is just, forming the baseline that we need to have across people, money, and endorsements.
And we do have local campaigns that are ongoing and will be starting up soon. So there's always an opportunity to direct volunteers and resources to those, which might have more immediate grassroots needs.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions, comments?
I posted that. I posted in the chat the league's position, the California League's position on election reform. And if you read that, you'll see it. I don't think it explicitly says ranked choice voting, but it supports majority winner elections, and that's what ranked choice voting gives you. And if you give me a few more minutes, I will post the California Democratic Party political reform platform link in the chat. And
awesome.
I can.
Looks like Chad just posted that for you, Steve.
Oh, he did? Pull up the chat.
Yeah, that's the specific bullet point.
Right, but it helps to have the actual link, because if you share bullet points with people, they may think you made them up. Whereas if you can point them at the link, then that's proof.
Yeah. No, I dropped the link in right above that.
Good. See, you saved me the trouble.
And where's the one you put in, Steve? I don't see it.
Another bullet. Are you having trouble seeing chat?
No, I can see the chat, but I am not seeing something from you, so.
Oh, there's another one.
I saw the
Did I
one.
not post that? Yeah, to
Did you maybe
everyone.
Did you post it to a person? I emailed you already anyway, so you can email it to me if you have the
Did
chance.
the league? No.
An encouraging update
Okay,
from Karen
no problem.
while they're figuring that out is,
Yeah, that's it.
is we have more donations coming in as we speak. So
Yeah.
way to go, everybody.
But
Very exciting.
So what's the thing about waiting to wear a 503C?
Sometimes like larger donors, for example, with donor advised funds are restricted to only donating to C3s, which are about education, et cetera, versus about actual advocacy and campaigning. So we need that for certain, like people who have donor advised funds. Also, some people like the tax deductibility feature that comes with a C3, but not with the C4.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Sure. All right, we're at